Hey there, welcome to a brand new episode of Muzikxpress. My name is Twan, and for this week's vlog I spoke to Ricky Simmonds and Steve Jones about their classic Everytime, which came out under a project name Lustral. Enjoy! UK-based duo Ricky Simmonds and Steve Jones are responsible for lots of different projects. In the year 1997 they started a new project called Lustral. The first track that came out under that name was Everytime. The original version of Everytime is a beautiful house breaks track with vocals by Tracy Ackerman. My first question to Steve and Ricky was how they got to meet Tracy.
Well, Tracy was someone we were signed to Chrysalis. They were our publisher at the time, and it was just purely a recommendation, wasn't it? We were asking for a certain type of vocalist, and our publisher was Steve Sass at the time. Or was it Cheryl who recommended her? I can't remember. So yeah, they just said try Tracy, and she was kind of a very different singer as well. So she sang.
She was writing for, what was the band?
She was writing for this. There was a British girl band called Bewitched back in the 90s. C'est la vie. There you go. So she was writing for them, but she kind of did the kind of singing that she did. It was kind of almost like Tina Turner, and we didn't want a Tina Turner type vocal, but we were just told that she could do any kind of vocal. So we got her into the studio, and you basically kind of coached her into a much more softer vocal. But that's not her natural singing style at all. She's much more we kind of like other vocalists.
We were kind of looking for, we were working with Kate at the time, so we were looking for someone with a different tone. And I think more importantly, someone that could actually do it quite quickly. So she was available, and she said she'd come up to the studio and would perhaps do some co-writes further down the line. So Tracy came up to the studio and we took it from there.
He just wanted to meet Bewitched. That's the only reason we got involved with her.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about the writing and production process of Everytime?
Okay, I'm going to have to put my hand up to this.
Please put your hand up.
Okay, so I wrote the backing track one Saturday afternoon once we got back from Ibiza, and it was a quick process. It was a 3 or 4 hour backing track. Really liked the groove and everything. Asked Ricky to come around to have a listen, and in my mind it was what I heard as a vocal was something a bit like Missing Everything But the Girl, or the actual backing track was based on, or not based, but inspired by a U2 record called Salome, the New Romancer mix. That's kind of like the groove and stuff. So I had a really strong idea of how the melody should be. So Ricky comes back and wrote Everytime on top of it, and I just said, oh no, I'm not into that at all. It's just no good.
Rejected it.
So I said, you've got to just go, really? Don't think it's any good? No.
And so, I've never been precious, so if he rejects something, I can't, alright, go try something else.
Yeah, so he went home and came back the next day with something different.
Which was a bit crap.
And I said to him, you know what, I quite like the original now.
Yeah.
So we went back to Everytime. So
sometimes it's always the first thing that you come up with.
Yeah. So that's my fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, so another story when we started working with Tracy was when we actually went to record the vocal. She's so used to projecting a lot more and singing more out. When we were trying to get that kind of sound, that really close mic'd, sort of intense, quiet sound, I kept asking her to back off on the vocal, back off, and in the end she was almost whispering into the mic. So it was almost like she didn't believe there was any note in her voice anymore because she was just talking really. And it's only when she came into the control room afterwards and I played it back to her, she was like, oh wow, I never believed I could sound like that. It's an incredible sound. And since then she's used that technique on a couple of other tracks I've heard her doing. So yeah, originally she just really belts it out and really loud, but
it's funny to hear her say I've never heard my voice like that.
Yeah,
that's quite
yeah, it's almost whispering. When I was when I was standing next to her with the mic, I kept pushing the mic closer and closer to her and saying whisper more, and it was like right up against the lips, and it was like, oh, this is going to sound terrible, but it's the same vocal. It was like one take almost, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you listen to the a cappella dry, you can hear it's really rough. There's loads of pops when you can hear her mouth moving and stuff because she's so close to the mic. But you put it in the track and a bit of reverb on it, and it sounds special.
It's quality.
Yeah.
So what kind of equipment was used for Everytime?
You can answer this one.
Atari 1040 for the sequencing with Cubase. JV 1080 Roland for the sort of guitar-y plucks, Akai 3200s, and J Juno 106.
So the track got signed to Hooch Tunes. Was it difficult to find a label for it?
It was impossible because nobody wanted it. So because we were kind of doing different deals with different companies at the time, I remember taking it to Jonathan Dickens, who was our A&R guy at Warner's for Chakra, and he was like, nah, this ain't happening, lads. And then Manifesto, Luke Neville didn't see it at all.
Yeah, we were putting it forward as a second Space Brothers record.
Yeah,
I said no.
I think we might have. Did we get a knockback from Oki as well?
Yeah. No one wanted it.
Perfecto. No. And then we played it to Jerry, and Jerry just kind of saw something in it, heard something in it, and he said, "I want this." And we were like doing the thing like, "Well, we'll have to think about that." But he was the only option. No one else wanted it.
Yeah. The weird thing is when we went to Hooch, we sent it to Hooch first, and then when we went to see him, because he was an independent, and he hadn't had. I don't think Cafe Del Mar had been out then, so he was having big records, but but not huge, and we weren't sure whether it was actually going to count towards our publishing commitment as well. So it was important that they accepted it as a bona fide label for it.
Yeah, we had these terms in our publishing contract where we had to release singles on major labels. So Hooge not being a major, just being an independent, made that something that we were considering. But in all honesty, we can say it now. We didn't have any other fucking options. No. Excuse my language.
No one wanted to sign it.
So we had to go with it. But fortunately, we did because it was the best home for it.
And the weirdest thing is, as soon as I walked into the building, I realised I went to school with Jerry. He was actually in my class. He was in my class at school. Like we hadn't seen each other for 15 years, and he's like, "Hang on a minute, oh yeah." And he was like a rockabilly at school, and I was his soul boy. And suddenly it's like, oh, we were in the same school anyway. So
did he used to flush your head down the toilet?
I think so, yeah. Right. So we just clicked, and he was madly into the record, but the only person who was madly into it. So
but he could hear. It wasn't just that he liked something that we were doing because we were doing these songs on these tracks on other labels. He could really hear something in it.
So I read Jerry also did a remix of the track, and also Nalin Kane did a remix, which was a bit in the vibe of their classic Beach Ball. So did you guys choose the remixes, or was it done like by the label?
Was Jerry really was the kind of driving force behind those kind of choices?
I think Beach Ball hadn't been out yet, or it was just about to be released. So I remember him playing the promo in the office to us and saying, "What do you think of these guys? We'll get them to do it." I said, "Yeah, great, sound great," but they were kind of unknown at the time.
Yeah.
So we just left it totally to Jerry to get on with that. He had like Ricky was saying, he had a clear vision of what he wanted that record to sound like. In somewhere we hadn't thought of it going, to be honest, because we were still stuck in the other kind of vibe.
Yeah, and he was really good because we did quite a few releases with him. But he was always good at getting a diverse kind of eclectic range of mixes. He had really good choices, very good ears.
So the Nalin Kane remix became a massive success in the clubs, and there was also some chart success for Everytime, since the track peaked at the number 60 position of the UK charts. Was this the very first time you guys had a hit in the charts?
No, I think that was we'd had the first one that just the two of us did was Chakra, wasn't it? But then Steve had one with Hilux, which was about 94, 95.
And then the first thing we co-wrote together was...
Co-wrote with another friend of ours called Paul Scrivener, was Ultra High in 1995. So yeah, that Lustral would have been about the fourth, maybe the fifth project that we'd kind of had chart success with.
Okay. So exactly 2 years after the original release, the track got a re-release in November 1999. It came out with some new remixes, and that re-release was a good decision because then the track made it to the number 30 position of the UK charts. So who should get credit for the idea of the re-release?
Jerry.
I was gonna say me, but yeah, Jerry. No, Jerry. I mean, it was definitely came from Jerry.
Well, he got Way Out West. Then finally did it.
Yeah.
Because first time round we couldn't get it together. So Way Out West did the mix. I think we added Timo Maas to that as well. So it was down to Jerry. He was pushing. He thought it was a massive failure the first time round. And although we were selling tons of copies still, the Nalin Kane mix was selling tons, but the second time it really went,
Yeah, it was good. I don't know if it was clever timing by him to do it then, but it kind of worked. The timing was pretty good.
So if you could choose whoever you want for like a new remix of Everytime, who would you pick and why?
Well, my choice isn't really a kind of club orientated choice. I would love to hear an act like Massive Attack to see what they could do with it. Just because I can imagine with that kind of vocal, the kind of mix that they might do would be pretty extraordinary.
I'd like John Hopkins to do it. I think he'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I know he's a mad. He's an amazing musician and he's got a mad sound. I just love the grooves and everything. I think John Hopkins would be a great. He doesn't do a lot of vocal stuff, but that would be really interesting. I think.
Never say never.
Exactly.
So in 2009, a double compilation CD with some down-tempo interpretations of several of your own productions came out. Tracks such as Home, Love Shines Through, Legacy, and For a Lifetime were all turned into beautiful down-tempo versions. How was it to work on this project?
It was wonderful actually. I mean, it's the first time that we'd gone back to all those tunes since we wrote them originally, so 11 years, 12 years earlier. And the ability to take them out of the sort of club style, not worry about the kick drum and stuff like that, and just focus on the songs was a real pleasure. And it was something we've always wanted to do, so yeah.
A lot of those songs, it just really suited to kind of let them breathe outside of the constraints of, the rigid structure of a dance track. I can't remember whose idea. Was it our idea to do that we took to Michael at Armada, or was it his idea?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Armada just released the Sun Lounger album, Roger Charles' project.
Yes, yeah.
And I really loved that. That's
right.
That album, and we were just talking to Michael. I said, "How about if we just take all of our stuff and we do a complete chilled out kind of vibe?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, just do it."
Yes,
so we kind of agreed it on the spot with him and Sander, and started recording it the next week.
They loved the idea.
They loved it. Yeah. I did a couple of demos. I did Someone. I just to show them what I was going to do. So we did Someone and I think Legacy, just to show them what it would sound like, and straight away they were like, "Oh yeah, this would be great." So
they were sold on it.
Yeah.
So as far as I can tell, actual instruments were used for those versions, am I right?
Yeah, we have
real life instruments,
acoustic piano and guitar. So Sasha Connaughton from Aurora played the guitars for us on that.
Cool.
Fine guitarist,
yeah.
So did it take longer to make the down-tempo versions compared to the original ones, or was it done like a lot quicker?
I reckon it took us about 4 or 5 months, I think.
Yeah, I think if you worked it out for each individual track, it was probably a bit longer, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was because we were
also taking much more care. Not that we didn't take care with the originals, but I guess because you're kind of experimenting with new soundscapes, you just took a bit longer to really work it out.
And to record live instruments is a longer process rather than just using synths. Plus, also we had to gather the old parts from 12 years ago, digitise them properly into Mac, and work from there. So yeah, it was a long process, but really nice.
You still had all the original dub tapes?
Yeah.
So the last Lustral release was So Lonely, which came out in 2014. Are there any plans for new material in the near future?
Definitely Lustral, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, well, looking forward to that. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Alright, that was it, this week's vlog, my interview with Ricky Simmonds and Steve Jones about Lustral and Everytime. Thanks a lot for your time, guys, much appreciated. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed the vlog. If you did, make sure to give this video a like, leave a comment in the comment section below, and make sure to subscribe. And in case you missed it, there's another interview online already on my channel with Steve and Ricky. That one is about the track Love Shines Through, which they did under the project name Chakra. Plus, I did another interview with the guys. That one is gonna be online in a few weeks, and that one will be about their project, The Space Brothers. So stay tuned. Once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye.